Hello, clever people, and welcome to my review for The Great Wall. So The Great Wall stars Matt Damon, and it revolves around a legend about the Great Wall, that the Great Wall of China, which was 5,500 miles long, took 1,700 years to build, that they were trying to keep out certain monsters that were continuously going towards them, so they wanted to kill them all and make sure that they didn't invade China and kill everyone. This is said to be one of the many myths and legends about why the Great Wall was built. It's not 100% clear why. They had multiple purposes that are clear, but multiple purposes that aren't. So they're discovering all these things, and one of the myths about them is that they had these monsters come in it, and that's sort of the selling point for the movie. I was kind of excited for The Great Wall. It had the director of the Raise the Red Lantern and Hero on it, Zhang Yimou. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. I could totally be butchering it, but that's how I think you pronounce it, and he is a really great director. I have not seen too much of his work, but what I've heard is that a lot of his films are great. Raise the Red Lantern is a film I really, really want to see. I hear that it's amazing. Hero, I hear, just has a beautiful aesthetic, so I was really looking forward to The Great Wall. The trailers were sort of lackluster, and that was okay, but when bad reviews started coming out, I was unsure, and I did agree with the reviews. I did not like The Great Wall at all. Something that I hear makes Zhang Yimou's films is the aesthetic to the film. That, Hero is said to have one of the greatest aesthetic of all times, and House of Flying Daggers also has a great aesthetic, and this one is completely dull in aesthetic, which is really weird. All of the costumes, they have these great reds and blues and greens, but it's buried under this cloud of gray, and sometimes I mean like cloud of gray metaphorically, but sometimes they actually have a lot of clouds on what's going on, and I don't understand why. I thought that if they had the aesthetic of the creature designs are nailed down and not as fake looking, and if they sort of had, a aesthetic for the sun, I think that these action sequences could have looked beautiful, but because of that, and the film's missing aesthetic, it really actually sort of took down the film. I will not say that The Great Wall is an awful movie or a terrible one, but what I will say is that it was very uninspired. It sort of felt like no one really cared about the project. They were all just sort of doing it for the paycheck. A lot of the acting was extremely flat, especially from Matt Damon. Matt Damon is one of my favorite modern-day actors. He's made great films such as The Martian and the Bourne trilogy, and he's great in that, but in this film, he really doesn't do anything. He doesn't have much to work with, honestly, because the character development is very weak, but he also just gives a very flat performance. He doesn't give any inflection into his voice. He hardly pronounces the words. He obviously doesn't care about what he's doing, and he gives no personality to his character. Admittedly, it was hard with the very weak development that he was given, but I think that Matt Damon could have tried harder, and in fact, I think everyone in this entire movie could have tried harder. It almost felt like the characters with one or two lines were trying harder than the main actors in the movie, which was very interesting because none of them really actually seemed to care. But it's not just the acting, too. It's the writing, which is very, very uninspired. The direction, which is definitely uninspired in every way. The aesthetic, as I previously mentioned. All of these aspects are extremely uninspired and just sort of come out dull. And for 95% of this film, the uninspired parts sort of come out and really hurt the movie because the action sequences are really the only entertaining, interesting part of this movie. The rest of it is so uninteresting because the dialogue is so terribly written. There's not a single quotable line in this movie. It's almost like they intentionally wrote the script with the thought that, hey, if we, create sentences that don't, have any power, then they will focus more on the action. It almost felt like that with the movie sometimes, but they focused about 80 or 90% of the movie on the stories and the character development, and none of it works because you don't care about a single thing because of how poorly written the dialogue is. All of this uninspired, lackluster material sort of makes the film forgettable, and really just not a film that I will ever remember or ever want to watch again or will ever recommend to anyone to watch. The acting, very flat. Everything in the film is flat, especially the comedic dialogue. Every single thing in this movie was uninspired. It really didn't feel like it was a powerful movie. It wasn't trying to be anything other than a cliched action movie that will come out and go away. This film really won't do anything else. It is an okay movie. Some people will view it as an okay movie. Some will think, hey, it's mediocre, it had some fun action. Others will view it as just an extremely boring, uninteresting film. I'm somewhere in the middle. I really did not like The Great Wall, and that is why I will give it a 3.75 out of 10. Sorry for the shorter review, guys. Just didn't really have much to say about this, but I will have a lot to say about the Oscar discussion that I will be posting later this week. It'll probably be Monday or Tuesday. I will post about a 15-minute video about all of the Oscars, so make sure that you subscribe so that you will be able to view that. But anyways, that concludes my review. What are your thoughts on the Great Wall? Comment in the comment section below and let me know. I am Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.